Hi, everybody. Okay, so I finished up the screening tonight. I went to this screening of video from October 7th in Israel that was taken off of the body cam of dead Hamas terrorists, their GoPros, victims of the attacks from their cell phones, from terrorist cell phones, from videos and pictures posted to social media, audio apps, first responder videos, to really show what happened on October 7th. And it's horrific. So this is your warning. If you don't want to hear what we saw in this private screening, then go ahead and keep on scrolling. There was a private screening for select journalists in Philadelphia, as well as lawmakers and their staff, some community members. And this is the video that was shown to the foreign press in Israel about 2 weeks ago. They brought it here to the States, and they're so protective of this video. They don't want it to be widely distributed out of respect for the families, that they sent it on a laptop with an IDF spokesperson. And he plugged it in himself. Nobody has the link. Some of these video clips in this compilation are online. You can find them on Telegram. They're horrible. One of them I didn't see, and this is the one that you've heard a lot of journalists talking about. This is the video, and I'll describe it to you. It's terrible. So you see a father and these two sweet little boys, probably between the ages of maybe 8 and 12. He's frantically rushing them to the bomb shelter, and they run to the bomb shelter, and they're in there, and all of a sudden you see a terrorist throw a grenade into the shelter, at which point the entire theater that I'm watching together with at the Weizmann National Museum of American Jewish History, they all go, there's a gasp in the audience. The grenade goes off. You can see the father fall down dead to the entrance of the bomb shelter, and the two boys are clearly shell-shocked, traumatized, in disbelief. They come out, they run back to the house, and then you see from a video, in the house, a surveillance video, they're like, that wasn't a prank. That wasn't a prank. That was real. Oh my gosh, that was real. They're screaming, they're crying, they're covered in blood. And then the one boy says to the other boy, "Can you see? What happened to your eye?" And the boy says, that he can't see and that he's blind. And then the brother says, "Lama ani chai?" He screams, "Why am I alive?" And my heart is breaking into a million pieces while you see the terrorist come into the kitchen living room where they're sitting, open up the refrigerator, and just casually pull a drink out and drink from like nothing happened. Horrible. Terrible. And there was a lot of crying and a lot of broken hearts in this theater. It's just the most horrific thing, aside from, watching families get torn apart, is also the depravity of these terrorists and how it wasn't enough to kill the people. They had to shoot them in the face, the dead bodies, so that you cannot even recognize them, or they would light them on fire, or you can see that, there's evidence of rape, there's blood, there's so much blood, and there was so many Allah Akbars as they're trying to chop someone's head off with every hit, they were using a hoe, a garden hoe, from the kibbutz, with every hit screaming Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. The joy in their faces was nauseating. You could tell these terrorists have so much hate for the Jews or for life, for anybody. It was shocking. It was shocking. Even though I had seen some of these videos online, it was beyond anything. So the reason that the IDF and other organizations want to host these screenings is for people to bear witness, because there are people out there that say that maybe it didn't happen, or maybe it wasn't as bad, very much like Holocaust deniers say this sort of crap. So no, it happened. We saw it. You see the videos. And the heartbreaking part about this is that the screening happened. It was shown in Philadelphia on the 85th anniversary of Kristallnacht, which was a pogrom in Nazi Germany. Night of the Broken Glass. 85 years later, here we are. Like, I know that sounds crazy that my generation thought, oh, that crazy Holocaust stuff is like outrageous. And that was our grandparents' generation. But nope, it's here. It's here. It's affecting us. Anti-Semitism doesn't go away. And I guess that's the point. So, gosh, I'm just trying to think. I took notes in the theater. They're like kind of showing it was lightly edited together, so with some had subtitles so that you knew what the Arabic or the Hebrew what people were saying, and it was just horrible. There was so much blood. I remember writing so much blood and so many Allah Akbars. Every time they killed somebody, the terrorists are screaming Allah Akbar, which means God is great. You can really feel the fanaticism of this extreme ideology. My heart is like broken. But I'm glad I saw the screening, even though it was really, really, really hard to watch. It's important. It's important that people know that this happened, and that, with all of the protests going on around the world, that people remember why we're at war. We're at war because these terrorists were so brutal. And just seeing this film, and at the end they put the pictures of the kidnapped. Israel is not going to give up on these kidnapped, people. I think like 32 of them are under the age of 18. They're not giving up on them. I mean, they're very clear that is central to the mission, along with getting rid of Hamas. And I also feel bad for the Palestinian people who are also suffering under Hamas, who is horrific. I mean, could you imagine living under that kind of a government of killers, mutilators, torturers, rapists? Terrible. Anyway, the screening was to show people what happened. The video, I spoke with people afterwards. Some people couldn't even speak. They were so shocked. I will try to add the videos to social media, so that sorry, not the videos, the audio stories that I did to social media, so that you can hear them. So scroll through this post. There was a lot of, I'm sighing now. It's like I guess a psychological way to push through all of everything that I saw. There was you heard a lot of sighing in the audience, a lot of crying in the audience. It's like everybody was quiet, except that you heard a lot of gasping and people tearing up. Once in a while you'd hear outbursts of tears. So the audience, some of them, because the makeup of this audience, the community members, many of them Jewish, some of them were not Jewish, but many of them older people. So they we're seeing these videos, many of them for the first time, which is just shocking. The burned bodies, the brutality to the dead bodies, and just the pain of watching people watch their family members get murdered in front of their faces, and then realize suddenly you don't have a parent, suddenly you don't have your best friend. It's insanity. They're just shooting at people in cars like nothing. And the thing that a lot of people said really struck them was that these are just civilians hanging out on a normal day, beautiful morning in Israel, and this terror breaks out. So everybody was saying never forget, and never forget is now. And it's still shocking, not just the content, but like the fact that it's happening right now. We had to sign a waiver. We had to check our phones before we went in. It was tough. It was hard. I hope, I hope that whatever needs to be done gets done, and that these kids come back, and that the war can be over, and that people can live in peace. But, anybody who saw this film, this is you can't live like this. Not Israelis and not Palestinians. Nobody can live like this under this terror regime. And it's, like I said, it's not enough to kill the people. They were brutal, mutilating people. Just, it was psychological. I don't know how people that do that kind of brutality don't go crazy themselves. But, I mean, I guess you have to, it's a certain special kind of hate to be able to, do that. Shooting animals. They didn't show us babies. They didn't, they showed a burned, picture, a burned baby, but they didn't show us. They said there was stuff that was even more gruesome that we didn't see. And we only saw less than a tenth of the bodies. And there were so many bodies, so much blood. So, all right. Just wanted to kind of get it all out there before I ended my day. I hope the war ends soon. I hope they accomplish their goals and move on, because this is just horrible. Again, they wanted to remind people of, they with all this anti-Semitism in the world, it seems like the world has lost sight of the reason that Israel is at war with Hamas. So horrible.